I recently switched to the Galaxy Z Flip 4. Well, before that, I was actually using the Z Flip 3, but about a week ago, I traded it into Best Buy for an incredible trade-in value. I paid $90 for the 4 because, yeah, awesome promos. Check it out if you're interested. But anyways, this is the first time since the Galaxy S4 that I've used an Android phone. So it's been some time and I have a lot of thoughts, and this is kind of an Apple reviewers and Apple nerds experience on one, Android, but also a review of the Flip because I just love the concept of the Flip. Okay, before we get into this, let me tell you what the problem I have. I don't like the Apple reviewers who review the Flip 4. They talk about parts of the operating system of Android OS that they don't like. Get over it. That's an Apple fanboy losing interest in Android. That's not a review on the phone. We're talking about hardware, not the software. Yes, the hardware and the software need to mix together to make it good, but that doesn't matter. For example, on Max Tech's newest video, or one of their new videos, Angelica was talking about how she switched from the 13 Pro to the Flip 4. And she mentioned a lot of great points, but she mentioned something in the settings in the Flip that she didn't like, that Apple does better. But that's just an issue with Android OS. Even the S22 Ultra has that issue. It's not an issue with the Flip, so I'm not going to talk about that. There are two different parts of the phone, like I mentioned. They're both tech-related, hardware, software, but this video we're going to talk a lot more about the hardware and some stuff about, I guess, the software. So in this video, we are going to talk about how well Samsung's new take on the classic Flip phone and their modern software work together, and the flaws, of course. In doing so, I will compare Apple's iPhone and how it mixes with hardware and software, whatever. Don't get me wrong, I am an Apple fan. At work, anyone has any Apple questions, they will come to me. They know I had the iOS 16 beta on. They know I watched the Apple event today. It's crazy that I am the Apple person. But there are a lot of things that Apple plays safe that I love innovation. So Samsung innovates, Apple plays safe. Samsung takes the risks. So how do they compare? First off, like I said, this is my first time using a Samsung phone for an extended amount of time since the Galaxy S4. It was definitely jarring at first, but I'm definitely getting used to it, and it's very fun. It's very different. But it's not even like a normal Samsung phone like the S22. I went directly for the Flip. And while the majority of things are the same on Samsung's phones, the use cases with having a phone that can flip to half its size is very different and interesting to use. First, the hardware of the Flip. Like I said originally, I switched to the Flip 3, and comparing that to my 13 Pro Max, it definitely did not feel as premium. It reminded me more of the normal iPhone 13 phones. So the plain aluminum sides, the glossy finish on the back, and the deeper color. But now on the 4, it reminds me of the 13 Pro. The shiny sides, even though on the Flip it isn't stainless steel, it's still aluminum, I think. The matte finish on the back, kind of like Apple's frosted finish, as well as this pastel blue, kind of reminds me of the Sierra blue on Apple's iPhones. I absolutely love it. Sierra blue is probably my favorite iPhone color ever, and if you don't like that, I don't care. Also, Samsung just released the Bora Purple, the newest one of the new purple colors. I really hope Apple does something similar to that one day, but they just released the deep purple, which I don't care for, on the 14s. Video on that soon. The inner screen on both the Flip 3 and the Flip 4 is very bright. It's gorgeous, and I'm still not sure about how I feel about the phone being tall and skinny versus like the Pro Max, you know, a little bit wider but a little bit shorter. The hinge is super cool. It's super interesting, and it's definitely much more firm on the 4 than it was on the 3. But you know, the 3 is a year old, so I can give it some slack, and I'm sure brand new it was much stiffer. Stiffness. The battery life on the 3 is absolutely abysmal, by the way. The 4 is still not as good, but it is obviously better. Nothing will compare to the 14 Pro and Pro Max, but the thinness of the Flip, while open, is very nice, comfortable to hold, and the battery life is an exception that you will have to make, but it's still not bad at all. Compare it more to like the 13 mini. The phone is very comfortable to hold, but it's definitely very different when pocketing it. While the iPhone is vertically more uncomfortable, this one is more horizontally more uncomfortable because it's, you know, 2 phones thick while pocketed, if that makes sense. The biggest downside though I found, like I mentioned before, is the battery life. Due to its smaller size and, you know, flipping capabilities. The battery is smaller and actually split into two parts. Top one on the bottom, to avoid the breaking battery in half the first time you flip the phone open. That's a good thing. Like, I kept my battery on the protect battery setting on this thing. So the phone fully charges at 85. It does not go up to 100, so that the battery life stays consistent longer over time while I'm using this phone. So yeah, I'm losing some life there, but at least it'll protect me from getting worse battery in the future. But when it's off the charger, I can run through the battery. I keep a fast charger in my car, so when I drive to work and from work and all that stuff, it charges my battery. And like with 80% battery, just 4 hours later, it's down to 30%, which isn't bad, but it's not great, especially for how little I use the phone during those 4 hours. So it definitely will not stand a 8-hour work shift without needing to be charged at all. That's a downside. Think of that before you get this phone, but my goodness, there's so much great stuff. And a couple of disclaimers on the battery. I've been using this phone for less than a week, and during that time, it learns my patterns, and over time, the battery life will get better when the phone is more used to its owner, if that makes sense. So the battery will get better. I can't say how much, but it will get better. Now, the opposite of downside, something I love, absolutely love about my Flip is the screen. I've noticed on my iPhone, I rarely keep the screen under 100% brightness. I need the phone at 100% at all times because I like it. Unless I'm in a dark room, it's always at 100%. But in normal conditions, I found that I've kept the Flip typically at 75% brightness or less, which is saying something. Yeah, if I had more faith in the battery, I might keep it at 100% at all times. But like, I didn't even notice it was at 75%, whereas on the iPhone, I notice when it's not on 100%. I love how bright this screen gets. The AMOLED, OLED, whatever display is gorgeous. Watching things on this is great. The aspect ratio when watching videos isn't the best. It's different than the iPhones. It's still so nice. You have such a gorgeous screen. You aren't getting any downsides with the screen, in my opinion. So the screen and the battery are the two biggest standouts to me. As far as the camera goes, I haven't tested it as much yet, so I can't say for sure. But as far as the crease goes, I barely ever notice it. When I touch the phone, I'm kind of surprised that it's there because I forget that it's there unless, I'm holding a phone. The crease is so unnoticeable unless you're looking for it or unless you're feeling it. Even when I'm watching a YouTube video or something, I don't feel it. When I'm scrolling on Instagram or whatever, I don't scroll the middle of my phone. I typically hold the bottom of the phone. So I scroll the bottom of the phone like I'm normal, unless whatever. So lastly, I said I'd talk about some software. The only special software stuff on the Flip compared to all other Android software phones is Flex Mode, which kind of makes the phone, when you fold it in half, the content is going to be on the half of the screen, and the bottom is going to be controls, more like a trackpad, or you can adjust brightness and all that. Or it's good to have it sitting up to watch videos, or a mirror for makeup, whatever, up to you. So that's cool, but it is irritating. I don't like how Samsung implemented it. Other than that, it's great. And there you have it. A simple review of the Z Flip 4 from the perspective of an iPhone user. If I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments and give me your thoughts too, and tell me how wrong and stupid you think I am, because I'm bald. I'm Jake, and this is Shot on My Phone.